Bitcoin is an ideology that spawned a protocol that created an asset that circulates on a network. The ideology is sovereignty, sound money, freedom and property rights, right? Dignity of the human spirit, ownership of your life force, economic sovereignty and immortality. That's the ideology of Bitcoin. And Satoshi gave us that.
Altcoins come and go, narratives change, but Bitcoin is the truth. The hardest money the world has ever seen. I've thought about it long and hard, about the pros, the cons, dug deep, questioned everything. At the end of the day, you gotta make up your own damn mind. Me, I have conviction. This is freedom. Let's go. I'm a Bitcoin Max.
All right, legends, I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Now, right, let's analyze. It's a Monday. Let's analyze the price of Bitcoin. What can we expect for this week? Something that I want to discuss, okay? And for those of you that didn't notice, okay, the thumbnail is a Bitcoin lying on a couch. Perhaps the world has gotten too bullish too quickly, right? And I want to discuss those scenarios. This range could potentially still continue. Okay, a lazy Bitcoin. Oh man, I thought we were going to claim the high, and now we just keep on ranging. Right, legends. There is an extreme bullish case scenario. I'm sure you've seen it all over social media. Well, I'm not sure if all over social media, but Andy has surely spoken about the most bullish case scenario. I'm just going to do a recap here on it at the moment as well. But there is a couple of scenarios where the range just keeps on continuing, boring the crap out of everyone, giving us that sideways momentum. Hence, I put the Bitcoin on a couch, just relaxing, just chilling, okay? Not doing much to the upside, not going to do much to the downside. It's just going to continue ranging like it has been doing. Right, legends, remember to smash up that like button. Here we do pure technical analysis. Right, and yeah, let me say hi to the community. Irina, welcome to the live stream. Always great to see you here. Mohit, hi Dewald, welcome to the stream. Stefan 1, welcome meneer. Yema, hello. Welcome. Okay, Shil, hello there. Welcome to everyone. Jeffrey, oh, it's a Bitcoin on a couch. Yes, it's a Bitcoin on a couch on the thumbnail, right? Maybe I didn't make it clear enough, but I just wanted to portray the laziness that could kick in here. And, you know, when I see the sentiment on Twitter and I see people posting thumbnails on YouTube about loading up your altcoin bags, the explosion is ready. It's imminent. Bitcoin is just going to absolutely rocket here to the upside. There is a scenario that supports that. Okay, there is a scenario, right? And I'm going to show you what will give me the clue that that scenario is definitely going to play out. But there's also that scenario which I'm actually leaning a little bit more towards, where we continue the range. Okay, I have changed my, for the pro members here in the community, okay, I struggled this morning. I really struggled to find a bearish case scenario, but then Andy posted something based on a scenario that I was looking at. I just forgot to take time into consideration, and when I looked at the timing, I was like, haha, Andy, you are onto something. So I just adjusted one of my scenarios ever so slightly, but I will explain it here on this live stream. Let's put the background music on here. Okay, I feel like I need a little bit of background music. There we go. Just see, there we go. Right, background music is in the house. Dewald, a few questions to ask. You can go ahead. Right, Alicia, I hope I pronounce your name correctly. Definitely. Let me first do the technical analysis and then I'll open the floor to a lot more questions. Okay, right, legends, let's get the party rolling over here. I'm just going to run through a couple of scenarios and then we can see, okay? Most bullish, maybe let's talk about the most bullish case scenario first. Let's talk about the most bullish case scenario, okay? Is this one. Right, we have finished a WXY structure, three-wave structure. Okay, I'm not going to go through the internal counts. You guys get the point. You have finished a lightning bolt. Done. Low is in. And whatever is happening over here is building bullishness back to the upside. Okay, and for now, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do see that there's some people that's counting this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, let me just take that one out. Right. It doesn't matter. There's a 5-wave structure here to the upside. Whether it ended over there or whether it ended over there, I like to say that it ended over there because there's reasons, because you need a 3-wave structure to the downside. When you take a parallel channel, it broke outside of the channel, which invalidates a 5th wave. Anyways, legends, I'm not going to go through too much details, but there's a 5-wave structure, okay, over here. Now, what you would like to see is for this low to hold. This low needs to hold. It's as simple as that. As soon as you take that low, you will invalidate the bullishness back here to the upside. So now what you would like to see is this needs to be a 5-wave structure as well. And we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Beautiful. Okay, we can count a 5-wave structure over here. And maybe this is still part of what happened here? 3-wave corrective structure. 3-wave corrective structure. You do not take the low, you form a higher low, and we continue an explosion here back to the upside. This is the most bullish case scenario. I do actually have it mapped out, if I am not mistaken. Most bullish case scenario. There we go. And this can get crazy, guys. This can go to $125,000 easy and beyond. 130, 140. This thing can really rock and roll here to the upside, right? And this is the most bullish case scenario. And I think this is what's making the world absolutely bullish. Okay, when I see the thumbnails on YouTube of people saying, load up, load up, load up. Okay, well, it has a possibility, right? We still have a little bit of resistance to the upside. So if price decides to turn around over here, we still have a little bit of resistance to the upside that we need to keep in mind. So let me take this out the way. Let's switch on our resistance levels. Point of controls, daily levels. Okay, so to the upside, we still have, let's just focus on the daily levels because they are the most powerful, right? At $111,000, 662, we still have resistance. Okay, so we need to pay attention to this resistance because look at what happened this morning at a daily level. Okay, let's zoom into that little structure on the 15-minute time frame, and I can show you guys. Well, if you go to the daily time frame, okay, and let's look at this little structure. You formed a daily level over here. There's a daily level, open and close at the same level. Okay, I'd like to use my magnet to snap it on so it's exactly where it needs to be. And then what happened? We rejected at the daily level. When was this? Last night, 11:30 my time. And again, 5:15 in the morning, this morning, Monday morning, this is where we rejected. You guys can see there was a daily level that formed over here, right? 2 daily open and closes, and then price rejected. Left little wicks behind, didn't even close bodies above. And how are we getting the drop to the downside? So we have another one, guys. So what I'm trying to highlight here is, regardless of the bullish, most insane bullish case scenario, if price gets up here and it does this over here, I'm shorting. I'm fucking shorting, guys. I can tell you now, I am shorting that little bad boy, because it could be a small little pullback and maybe it finds support over here, and I will definitely take profits, because that's what I do as a technical trader. TP1, TP2, TP3, you just need to know where to take profits. But I will definitely leave some open for lower levels, because it could really get aggressive here to the downside. It's resistance at the end of the day, and if I see what I like what happened over here, I will short. Okay, so I'm not just leaning towards one side and saying, well, it broke the highs, it broke the high, guys, load your bags, go all in, okay, and then it miserably rejects and it falls here to the downside. It's important for me to have my alarms set, and when my alarms go off, I will observe what happens at this level. Chances are, okay, it's a trick of the trade. I haven't tested this probability in a long time, but I do know when I back tested this probability, when you close, especially here on the larger time frame, 1 hour and up, when you close bodies, okay, let's look at the 1 hour over here. When you close the body of a 1 hour candle above, okay, the body above the level, usually that signals continuation in that direction. When you leave wicks behind, you fall down. Just a game of probabilities. Not always, but most of the time. And I trade probabilities. Right, legends. So just be on the lookout. Also, from a point of control perspective, we still have a point of control at 111,000. 111,000. Okay, I don't like this point of control, and this is why I've only highlighted the daily level, because of the volume inside of this range. I don't like the volume inside of this range. It's very scattered. I did do a live stream last week where I explained why I don't like this point of control, but I will still pay attention to it. I think the strongest level here to the upside is that daily level. Okay, right, legends. So price is currently falling here to the downside. For the bulls, what you would like to see, okay, if I switch on my most bullish case scenario, if you read the screen properly, okay, can you read the screen properly? Maybe I need to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, let's, whoops, wrong one. Let's do this. Guys, you need to read this properly, okay? There's an invalidation, clear invalidation, right? So for the bulls, you should not take this low. Okay, you should not take this low, because what on all of this can't be part of the same corrective structure for this little impulse. It's too long in time. Also, this doesn't make sense. Why did it go up? Okay, B flat, I think it tapped the 1.618 if I'm not mistaken. So it invalidated the B flat to the upside. Let's double check. Okay, yeah, from the high to the low, drag it across. Just roughly check over here. Yes, tap the 1.618. So this can't be a and a B. And this is all part of a C. It can't be part of the same corrective structure for this wave, because B got invalidated. Well, it just carries much lower probabilities. Okay, right, legends. So this is the most bullish case scenario. Not much to be said over here. We did discuss the resistance to the upside, the daily level that I will still be paying attention to, regardless of the most bullish or the most bearish case scenario. When my levels get hit, I pay attention. Okay, it's as simple as that, right, legends? Also, there was a point of control right over here, and we got a beautiful bounce there by the point of control. But now we formed a nice little beautiful fresh daily level at that little low over here. Okay, so what looks more interesting to me is if price continues the momentum here to the downside, I want to see what's going to happen at this daily level. If I see that over here, now that is a long opportunity for me, a beautiful long, because this long has the potential to claim that high, right? Because I love it, and I'm going to go through the scenario now in a moment. But then you are going to invalidate the most bullish case scenario. As soon as you claim this low, although you can claim the high, there's a higher chance that you are definitely going to reject here by the highs somewhere in this zone and fall back down. So if I had to have my way, and I don't always get my way as a technical trader, okay, because I can't control the price of Bitcoin, I would like to catch a long in this zone, and I would like to catch a short in this zone, and then another long in this zone. Okay, so potentially 3 epic trades around the corner: a long, a short, and a long, depending on how price develops in this local range that we're forming here at the moment. Right, from a bullish case perspective, legends, I'm going to go, dare I even say, I'm going to go into the 5-minute time frame in a little while, and we're going to go and analyze this little structure, okay, that I analyzed with the Legends Pro community this morning. So there's still a chance that you form an AB's, let's just keep it simple, ABC, 3-wave corrective structure. You get acceptance back above this low. Okay, that's going to be key for me. Price needs to dip below, get acceptance back above, bullish CVD, right? And then you're going to see continuation to the upside. Most importantly, you can have your trend and you just play the breakout. Okay, if you're too scared to catch these little knives here to the downside, and you don't have a strategy to exercise proper risk management, wait for the breakout. Right, so I'm giving you guys a lot of options in how to get into these trades. Okay, so let's take the daily levels here out the way. And now, okay, let's run through a couple of scenarios. Most bullish case scenario we've discussed. Okay, there's no two ways about it, right? You're just going to see continuation here to the upside. The WXY is completed in a corrective structure. It must be said, okay, that the Y is very short in time. Just something to point out, that the Y is very short in time compared to your W. I don't like it, but it's not an invalidation. And which gives me a slight higher chance that maybe the corrective structure is going to continue because of how short YF is compared to how long W is. If you take a time flip from the high, you measure the length of W, okay, you can see that Y did not finish after the 0.382. It's not an invalidation, but I have seen on Bitcoin and crypto specifically that Y waves tends to be short. I didn't expect it to be this short. Okay, but nonetheless, it's a valid corrective structure. Okay, so let's go down the list. Then, right, I want to talk about this little scenario. This scenario doesn't carry the highest probability, but the end result is exactly the same as, can you guys see that the end result here, where this ends, is basically slightly below these lows, or this low over here. Here you can see that you have a W that is much shorter than your Y at the moment. So you have a W in a 3-wave structure, you have a 3-wave structure in X, and then you have an A, B, and now you're going to form a 5-wave structure in a C wave to the downside. The problem is this little structure. Okay, is it a valid 5-wave structure? I'm not giving it the highest probability. Okay, so something I want to point out. For this structure to play out, you have to form impulses to the downside. This needs to be a 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your second wave corrective structure. And now you are going to dump down in a third wave. And I mean, this can get aggressive. We don't know yet because third waves can get very aggressive. But you want to fall down in a third wave, 4, 5. Complete the C. Okay, can you see? And you get acceptance back above this low. So this also now plays into, if we claim this low and you start trading back above, now that to me is a longing opportunity. Not as price is below my area of interest. When price is above my area of interest, then I know where to put my stop loss and I know where to take profits here to the upside. Daily level, point of controls. Okay. Right. So I don't particularly like this corrective structure because of how long Y is. So if I measure W and I go and measure, well, how long is Y? You can see it's already past the 2 extensions. So it's not an invalidation, but it just doesn't look proportional. It looks out of balance. In corrective structures, you like to see your A, your B, your C's. There must be like a nice little balance, symmetry between your waves. Right, so time is never an invalidation, but it does impact the probabilities. So this Y is a little bit too long. The second problem that I see over here is this. That's the second problem. Okay, because that needs to be a 5-wave structure. So let's quickly zoom into the 5-minute time frame. Okay, this is how pedantic I get, guys. And this is what gives me probabilities for scenarios, right? So this needs to be a 5-wave structure here to the downside. So let's zoom into this structure. On the 5-minute time frame. Okay, so in an impulse to the downside, you want to see a clear 5-wave structure. You want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. In an impulse, in this instance, there's a problem. This little pivot overlapped with that pivot. Not allowed. Okay, so it's not an impulse. Maybe it's a contracting diagonal. Let's see if we can count a contracting diagonal. Because this is what I go through every single day when I see structures to the up or to the downside. Is it impulsive or is it corrective? And based on the impulsiveness or the correctiveness, I can then determine whether we're going to go up or whether we're going to go down. Right, so now, contracting diagonal. Is it a contracting diagonal? Okay, because now the same scenario. You take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just switch on the line so everyone can follow. Okay, in a contracting diagonal, okay, your 5th wave needs to be shorter than your 3rd wave. This little 5th wave that fell here to the downside needs to be shorter than your 3rd wave. So I take my trend-based FIB and I measure the 3rd wave. Put it on top of 4, reverse it to the downside. Nope. It is 123% longer than the 3rd wave. So my conclusion is not a contracting diagonal. Okay, so I'm looking for bullishness to the downside. Right, so let's take this out the way. Delete the trend. Now the only other option, okay, the only other option that I see here, and I don't particularly like it, okay, is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Now there is an impulsive structure. It has to be said that mostly your 4th waves are longer in time than your 2nd waves. Look at how long this 2nd wave is, and look at how long this 2nd wave is. Look at how teeny weeny that is, and look at how teeny weeny that is. So from a symmetry perspective, okay, because Elliott wave theory also speaks about the relationship from a corrective perspective. Mostly 9 out of 10 times your 4th waves are at least the same length, okay, than your 2nd wave, preferably longer. So it looks out of whack. So I can't really see this as an impulse, but there is a valid count. It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. To count this as an impulse is not pretty, okay, but you can force the count. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Okay, and then all of this that's happening here to the upside is a corrective structure. Okay, A, B, C, and now we're going to start creating impulses to the downside. So it must be said that this is an ugly impulse to the downside. So the best way for me to count it that makes the most sense, and I don't have to force anything, is let's just keep it simple. ABC, right? Let's keep it as simple as an ABC. What if this is just a normal A, B, C? Now that makes more sense. Okay, because you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, or you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. That makes more sense because of how short these little corrective structures are. So this structure looks more impulsive than counting it from over here. So this looks like a 1, 2, 3 wave structure. Okay, it does count better as a 3-wave structure, but there is a count for 5-wave. It just feels a little bit forced. So just something to point out. So jumping back onto the 15-minute time frame, right? This is why I don't particularly like this corrective structure, because you have to have 5 waves here to the downside, and it counts better as a 3-wave structure. Right. So to just bang here to the downside, it's not invalidated, just carries lower probability for me. Right. Now let's move on. Let's take this out the way, that out the way, close this scenario, go back onto the 1 hour time frame. Right, legends, I'm going to jump into some easy technical analysis in a moment. Just want to make sure, am I in front of the camera? Did I move my face? Let me do this. Ooh. I want to look you guys in the eyes. Right, like the stream, lovely people. Then the probabilities are correct any sooner rather than that. Then the probabilities are correction ending sooner rather than later. Dewald, if we assume impulse from 74K, we are now crossing 1-to-1 FIP time. I have followed up questions, so please keep seeing the chat. Okay, perfect. We can get through that on the higher time frame, because that's also something I want to talk about on the higher time frame. Okay, right, legends. Now, last scenario that I think it's the last one. Let's see, maybe there's another one. Is this one over here? So this morning, okay, this morning, let me just bring it all here into the screen. Okay, I know it looks a bit messy and complicated. I can delete some of these things, okay, to make it less complicated. Right. This morning, my B wave was over here. And I had the same issue that I discussed with the Legends Pro community. It would be very weird to fall down in a C wave because of this. Because I'm struggling to count 5 waves to the downside. When you reach the top and price needs to fall, you have to form 5 waves. Always 5 waves gives you impulsiveness in that direction. 3 waves doesn't do that. 3 waves are corrective structures. Okay, so you need to see 5 clear waves here to the downside in order to get here. Okay, and then Andy, just after I updated my the pro community, uploaded the video, Andy said, well, Dewald, what about this? What about this? I was like, oh, now you're onto something. I did not see that, because also from a timing perspective, if I put my B over here, and I take the time it took to form the A wave. So from the high to the low of A, this is the time it took to form the A wave. You can see that this high was made before the 0.382, which means it's invalidated. Well, carries very low probability. I can't use the word invalidated. All I can say is very low probability. But if I move the B over here, now this looks very interesting. Okay, where you formed a 3-wave structure in an A, you have formed an A, B, C that ended over here, and now you're forming another A, B, C to the downside to complete your X. Then you go back up for another A, B, C, and then somewhere in the zone, which is B flat targets, you reject, basically either before or above the high, and you fall to the downside. And there's a high chance that if you successfully reject in this zone, there's a very high chance that you're going to take this low. Because in an ABC flat, where B is a flat, it basically takes the high of your impulse, C has a very high chance of taking the low. It doesn't have to, and if it doesn't, it's a running flat. Okay, if your C makes a higher low, then that's what we refer to as a running flat. But it's a more rare. Okay, it doesn't carry as high probability as the C just grabbing the low. Right. So for me, this is a scenario that looks very, very interesting. Okay, in this scenario, okay, but then you can also see from a timing perspective, now it makes sense. If B finishes over here, it finishes after the 0.618. Where if B finished over here, there's a problem. Big problem. Okay. Right, so legends, let me just zoom in here ever so slightly. Something that I want to explain over here. Okay, look at the red. Let's quickly focus on the red. Let me make it nice and thick. Okay, let's quickly focus on the red line over here. There's a couple of rules for a WXY that I'm going to be paying attention to. First thing is, if you take a fib from the low to the high of the structure, okay, preferably X maximum target finishes inside of the golden pocket. Even higher is fine. Okay, 50%, 382 is fine. So in this zone is a perfect X target in order for the Y to take W. Okay, let me just put this higher because I want the Y to take W, right? So that we can get the flat to the upside. Because in a WXY, if X taps the 786 or even the 0.7 Fibonacci, let's just try this again. Let me switch on my 0.7. Right, there we go. If X taps the 7 Fibonacci, I like to use the 786. So basically, if X gets into this box, right, there's a very high chance that Y is not going to take the high. Okay, so this gives me a clue. If we're going to form a B flat, which we have to form, and I will explain that in a moment, we have to form a B flat for this corrective structure to play out. X is not allowed to tap this box. It needs to be before it taps that box. And this is why I'm still leaning on a swing failure from this low. I think that's going to be a beautiful trade. So if price falls down and it gets acceptance back above, this is where I'm interested in a long, because I know that if I have a shallow X that does not tap this box, there's a high chance that price is going to claim that high. Guys, I know this is very technical and I'm trying to explain it to you, and hopefully after a couple of times when I explain it and explain it and explain it and explain it, the pennies will start dropping into place. Okay, so from a simplicity perspective, okay, draw your fib from the low to the high. If price continues to fall to the downside, you want it to form. It would be nice to sweep the liquidity below this low, I must say. Okay, it would be very strange to bounce here on the 0.382. Maybe you'll get a bounce and then you'll get continuation, but the 50%, that daily level, okay, even the golden pocket over here, beautiful bouncing zones. I would like to see the X finish inside of this zone. If price taps this little box, I will still attempt a long if I see the price reaction that I get over there. Maybe it forms that nice little trend here to the downside. I will see. Okay, but I'm not just going to leave the position open to come and claim the highs. Okay, because then maybe we're forming a different corrective structure and we need more information so I can analyze it. Okay, now what I want to discuss here quickly is, so in a WXY, for the Y to take the high of W, you don't want to tap this box, because usually in Elliott wave theory, from a probability perspective, if your X wave retraces too deep, it reduces the probabilities that your Y is going to claim this high. So you want a shallow retracement. 618, 50%. In this box, this is where you want it to bounce. Even if it just claims that damn low, right? That would be very nice for a nice little swing trade here to the upside. Right, legends, something that I want to discuss here quickly. So let me take some of this noise here out the chart. Now you might be asking yourself, Dewald, but why do we have to form a B flat? Why do we have to form a B? B has to reject in this zone. Okay, minimum, it has to at least tap this line. It has to. It doesn't have a yay or nay. It has to tap that line because of the following. And this is something that I explained to our Legends Pro community as well. Remember, guys, if you'd like to join our Legends Pro community where I drop the alpha on a daily basis, this is where you join by selecting this link. Okay, as you guys can see, bluffing, I need to talk about that inside of the Legends Pro community this morning. You know, this is where I counted this corrective structure, which I'll get to on the 5-minute time frame. Okay, and then that was when my B was still at the wrong place, right? I also spoke about this corrective structure that I've just gone through now as well, the most bullish case scenario, saying that maybe we're forming that little bullish pennant on top, but we need to remain above the value area high, which we've now almost lost. Okay, I did a video update where I went live with the legends. Yes, Andy highlighting the B that I'm just talking about right now. And right, Andy gave another update here as well. So if you guys would like to join the Legends Pro community, this is the link here down in the description to join. This little link over here. Right, and as per this screenshot over here on Bluffin, by selecting the first link down in the description, you get $15 by depositing 100, 75 by depositing 500, and so forth. You guys get the point, right? A nice little special running here on Bluffin, and also they have that competition the wow competition running at the moment, and I do see our team is climbing the ranks. So I'm pretty excited. I wanted to see this morning, are we climbing the ranks here to the upside? And I see we went last week, if I'm not mistaken, we were number 24 and we are now number 19. So we are slowly but surely climbing the ranks here to the upside. Right, guys, also Phoenix is running an amazing special here at the moment as well. You also get 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in your futures account, 20% extra to trade with for free. So Phoenix links down here into the description. Okay, right, guys, all of these links is where you get the best bonuses and larger sign up and lowest trading fees. Okay, here you also get VIP 1 status, by the way, on weeks. Always down in the description. Right, guys, I'm going to go through the comments here in a moment. Okay, I just want to wrap up the technical analysis over here. I know you guys have a lot of questions. Right, cool, legends. Now, why does B have to tap this box? Because A is a 3-wave structure. 1, 2, 3. And because A is a 3-wave structure, you have to create a B flat. The minimum target for a B flat is the 0.9 Fibonacci retracement. Okay, so you take a fib from the high of A to the low of A, you drag it across. Okay, I just want to make sure that I take some of these. Okay, well, guys, let me just do this. Right, let's put it there. I go switch on the 0.9. Okay, let's switch on the 0.9. Okay, so if I zoom in, your B has to tap at least the 0.9 because that's your minimum flat target. And as you can see over here, it did not. It front run it by $7. $7 front run it. It did not tap a flat target. So the minimum target would be the 0.9 because your A wave is a 3-wave structure. If your A wave was a clear 5-wave structure to the downside, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you all know the problems with this structure, then the B can be very shallow and the C can form another 5 waves to the downside. So if you have 5-wave A, a short, shallow 3-wave B, you can have an aggressive C to the downside. A more sharp corrective structure to the downside. But because you have a 3-wave A wave, B has to be a flat. It has to tap a flat target. Okay, right, so that's with the education. Okay. Right, legends. So for now, I really like this scenario from a psychology perspective. Because imagine coming down here, claiming this low, which invalidates the bullish case scenario, and then everyone's going to start shorting like crazy maniacs. Oh God, we invalidated the bullish case scenario. Because remember, in the most bullish case scenario, okay, that's your invalidation. Do I need to make it any bigger? So can you imagine price falling from it? You know, I like the psychology behind this scenario. If price can fall down, it invalidates the bullish case scenario. And then what happens is this scenario comes into play where price gets acceptance back above, and then it takes the highs, and everyone's like, what, is the bull market back? People frantically starts longing over here, thinking that, oh shit, maybe I counted the structure incorrectly, or whatever the case might be. Long starts piling up in here. Where do people put their stop losses? Below the recent low. Okay, so there's just a massive liquidity pool gonna build up over here, right? And then you reject, and bam, you claim all of this liquidity. So from a psychology perspective, I really like ABC flat scenarios. So, as per the thumbnail, with the Bitcoin lying on the couch, has everyone turned too bullish soon? You let me know in the comment section. Let me know. Do you think everyone has turned bullish too quickly? Right? Are we still going to get a massive C wave here to the downside? Or is the low in and we are just going to blast here to the upside? Right. It's summer, guys, you know, and when you look at the previous summers on Bitcoin, it's always been a boring ranging structure. So it would be quite weird to get this out of Bitcoin during the summer. It would be very strange, but it's not invalidated until it's invalidated. Okay, so I'm not saying that the bearish case scenario is the one that's going to play out. I'm saying that as soon as my invalidation gets hit, I know where to look for longs. I know where to look for shorts. I'm still in this short, guys. I'm still in a short here from a naked point of control that got tapped over here. I'm still in that short. So I'm just riding the short. It's a hedge against my longs. My swing longs that I've got open, it's a hedge. Okay. Right. So I'm just going to ride it here to the downside. If price falls down and it gets acceptance back above, this is where I will close my short. Because then I know, okay, there's a chance that we're going to come and eat up this high. I don't want to get stopped out with no profits. Okay. Right. Is it time for questions yet? So something else that I quickly want to take you guys through is here on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, let's take that box here out the way. And then I'm going to go through some comments. Okay. Still waiting for Bybit Boss. Smash the like, legends. Yes, Pablo, thank you so much. Elizabeth, welcome to the stream. Hi, Dewald, good evening. Right. Now on center. Ek geniet jou show, Dewald. Baie dankie. Welkom. Course for total beginners. Yes, I am launching a course, guys, and I will give you guys more detail as it becomes. I don't want to spill the beans yet, but I will give you guys more detail on the course. Okay, like the stream, lovely people. Yes, smash up that like button. Dewald, if we assume Impulse 74K are now crossing 121. Okay, this is now what I want to discuss. Okay, is that, guys, if you, okay, maybe before I make that point, okay, when you have an impulse to the upside, it is very, very normal for your corrective structure to be longer in time. Very normal. It's not abnormal. Okay, so when you take a time fib from the low to the high of the structure, you can see that we have now, Alicia, okay, we have now crossed the 1-to-1 extension, which means you now have a perfect ratio, okay, but basically look at where your low is, okay, right, look at the low rather. The low was made before the 1-to-1 extension, so I know we're crossing the 1-to-1, doesn't matter, okay. You can, guys, very comfortably, Bitcoin can very comfortably make a corrective structure that finishes after the 2, even tapping the 3. This is after the 3. This is where things starts getting a little bit iffy for me. But in this zone is very common for the corrective structure to continue after you've had a massive impulse. When you go after the 3 and you start tapping the 4, it's not what you want to see. But you can still see you have not even tapped the 2 over here. So this corrective structure can still carry on until the 21st of August. Easy, no problemo. Okay, which means, okay, most people from a simplicity perspective, you want to see the low made, okay, after the 0.382, which is your minimum target, which it did. It made it after the 618. But if price had to come down here in that scenario that we've just discussed, it grabs the low, it makes a B flat, it comes down in an aggressive C waves, because C waves are very aggressive and they're very sharp to the downside, very scary, and they scare the crap out of everyone. C waves are very aggressive, okay? They can be they just fall, and everyone's like, oh shit, I think we're going to take the low. And then it stops, okay, and then you have blast off. So there's definitely still a chance for this low to be claimed in that ABC, okay, 3-wave corrective structure, and you are still well within time. Time is not an issue at the moment, not at all. Okay, the reason some people believe, or the reason people believe that the bull market is back and we're just going to climb out of here to all-time highs is because now we do have a valid low made after the 0.382, after the 618. So there is a valid count that supports that the low could be in. Okay. Right. I quickly want to look at also this impulse that we had here to the upside, okay? The corrective structure, guys, ended over here. It's not to say that your last corrective structure has to take the low, because even in this corrective structure, you can form a running flat. You can form an A, B, C that makes a higher low. And then it continues here to the upside. And people are going to think, no, but this is where it all started. No, this is where your correction ended. You just had a running flat. ABC, this is where the correction ended. It doesn't have to take the low. And then you built 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 to the upside. Okay, exactly what happened over here. Okay, I'm not going to go through this entire corrective structure, guys, but basically you have an ABC and a W. Okay, you have A, B, C, and an X, and then you have a triangle. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, and then this is where your correction ended. That is where the correction ended, not there. Didn't end there, it ended over there, right? Then you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 here to the upside. Okay. So let's just quickly go and see, well, how long did this take? Just to put it into perspective, right? So if I take a time fib, just from this low to the high, you can see that this corrective structure finished after the 1-to-1 extension. Okay. So corrective structures can take very long, right? But I mean, it's still a nice little balance. You almost have a 1-to-1 ratio over here. Beautiful 1-to-1 ratio. Right, just something to point out. And I mean, we all know this corrective structure that just took forever, right? Do you guys remember this corrective structure? It just felt like it never wanted to come to an end. Okay, you could argue that it actually started from over here, because you already have an impulse and a correction over here. So your impulse actually started over here, and if you take a time fib from that low to the high, look at this. Oops, put that back. Okay, this corrective structure finished after the 3, but it did not tap the 4. Okay. So just to put it into perspective, and guys, another point that I'm trying to make over here is that everyone is always dreaming and hoping and expecting that massive move. Okay. And yes, you do get them. But when you go and calculate how long does this take and how long does the correction take? How long does this take and how long does the correction take? How long does this take? And then you have this upwards correction. You have another impulse, you have a correction. The market ranges for more than 75% of the time. And it's only about 20 to 25% of the time that you get these guard candles to the upside. So if you are a trader that's only waiting for these little guard candles every single day, okay, it's going to go now. Okay, it's going to go now. Okay. What are you doing the other 75% of the time? Are you not trading? Are you losing money inside of the range? Okay, so don't be like those people, guys. Learn to trade ranges, because if you can learn to trade ranges, you will make money 75% of the time. And if you are a person that can only trade trending markets, these are trending markets, you are only going to be able to trade 25% of the time. And you're going to wait. Finally, we get another range, a trend here to the upside. Another beautiful trend breakout here to the upside. Okay, you are in profits. Now, what do? You sit on your hands. Okay. Yes, okay, we have another trending market here to the upside. Thank goodness. Okay, now you sit on your hands. You have to learn to trade the ranges, because the reality is the market ranges for way longer than what it trends. And I do know of some people, I'm not going to mention any names, that can only trade a trending market. And some of these people, without mentioning any names, maybe you can read between the lines. If you can only trade a trending market, you are going to stuff up, become depressed, and consistently give your community incorrect calls because you do not know what to do over here. This is why it's so important for me, legends, to, have your levels, have your point of controls, have your daily levels, have your weekly level. I know it looks like an absolute mess here at the moment, but when you zoom into the smaller time frames, you can trade these little levels. Okay, this is why it's so important for me as a technical trader to have these levels on my charts so that I can scalp the range. You short the top. When you bounce on a decent level, you can attempt a long. Ooh, okay, hit resistance, you take profits. You short, you take profits. You long, you take profits. You short, you take profits. That's how you trade a range. If you are sitting on the side continuously hoping for this or this, okay, you're going to be waiting for a very long time. You're going to be... Do you guys get the point that I'm trying to make over here? Learn to trade the ranges and never think that the trade that you are taking right now or tomorrow is the trade. Because that will only happen 20 to 25% of the chance of the time. Okay? Just trade the goddamn range. Long to the upside, short to the downside. Long to the upside, short to the downside. This is, you play. I think Andy made such a beautiful comment on his live stream earlier where he said, you're playing ping pong. You short the highs, you long the top. Oh, You short the highs, you long the bottoms. You know, you're just playing ping pong. It's never the trade. It's just, I want to get in with good risk management and I want to take profits at the next area of resistance or support, depending on whether you're shorting or longing. I can tell you guys now, inside of this range, I have shorted and longed multiple times. Okay. I did not enter a short over here just thinking that it's going to... Okay, I did not enter this short, which I'm still in at the moment, thinking that it's going to claim this low. No, I already took profits here. From this short, I already took profits over there. I've left some of the position open. I almost thought, okay, I'm going to get stopped out, and now it's falling back down here to the downside. Right. Mr. Crypto Big Brain, yes, we trade the ranges in the Legends community. Absolute legend. Because if you trade the range, you will have most likely a trade every single day. I'm happy with 3 trades, maybe 2 trades a week. I'm very happy with 3 to 2 high probable trades a week. And sometimes the Legends Pro community know this. Okay, I just sit on my hands. I will say, guys, I feel like I need to give you a trading scenario, but I'm not taking this trade. I'm waiting for a higher probability trade. Right, but there's always there's at least a trade to take at least every single day, and this is why we are day traders. We get in and we get out during the same day. Okay, and if you have that mentality of I'm a day trader, I get in and out during a single day, maybe I hold on to a moon bag, okay, a day or 2 later, but I still know where to take profits, you will be way more successful in trading, because then you can successfully scalp ranges, which happens more than 75% of the time. Okay, and there's a lot of strategies. There's the D-line strategy that we all love inside of the Legends Pro community, swing failure patterns, harmonic patterns, volume strategy. What else? Just to name a few. There's a range low, range high strategies. Okay, which brings me to this one over here. This is why I'm so interested in that little pivot. This is it's a range trading strategy. Okay, so if let's just clean up the chart over here. Right, I can tell you guys now. Okay, just briefly, I can give you guys some alpha over here. This, ladies and gentlemen, let me just take the comment here out the way. Switch on my magnet. This is what I call a range low. I like to make them white, okay, and to make the candle white as well. And it's a very effective strategy, and it plays out very well if you know how to follow the rules, because every strategy has rules. Now, this is just a normal strategy that you can use inside of a range like we're in at the moment. If price had to fall here to the downside, okay, and it leaves a wick behind and it gets acceptance back above, okay, because after an impulse, the first low that you make is what I call the range low. Price did not tap it just as yet, so it's still valid. So if price had to fall down here, it leaves a wick behind. It doesn't close high time frame candles below. I don't want to see 1 hour, even body of 15-minute candles below. Okay, 1 hour is actually my preference. But if it leaves a wick behind, it's fine if it dips in, grabs the liquidity below these lows, okay, or it even just taps the level, doesn't matter. But you want to see a movement away from it. Okay, that to me is a long. Now I know where to put my stop loss. Now this is where the rules for the strategy kicks in. The rule states price is not allowed to tap this level again. It's not allowed to. It needs to move away. It needs to, even with a retracement, it needs to move away, but it should not tap the line again. That's the rules. So what I like to do with this strategy is price taps the level, I enter right over there with my stop below the low. As soon as price moves a little bit in my favor, I protect my position, because the rule of the strategy states price is not allowed to tap this line again. If price taps this level for a second or a third time, it increases the probability that it's going to fill the inefficiency. Okay, So I really don't mind getting stopped out at break even if it taps this level, even if it gets another bounce. Because often, and I know crypto big brains, you know this as well, often what happens is it taps the level, I get stopped out, it gets a bounce, and then people are like, Dewald, I thought we're going to go and claim the inefficiency. I'm like, wait, and then it comes. Okay, and then people get confused with that little bounce there to the upside. But when you tap this level multiple times, you increase the probabilities of claiming the inefficiency. So this is just one strategy that I use inside of ranges. I use the D-line strategy, I use harmonic patterns. Like for example, the butterfly harmonic played out so beautifully that I highlighted, I can't even remember how long ago. Okay, here's the butterfly. Do you guys remember this? Okay, you form a butterfly harmonic pattern. This is what we trade. You take a fib from the high to the low. TP1, 618 is always a, let me just switch that off. 618 is always TP1, TP2. So TP1 and TP2 got hit over here. Beautiful range strategy. It's not a trending strategy. A trend, you know. The D-line strategy, by the way, works beautifully in a trending market. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but the D-line strategy also works in ranging markets. You just have to change the rules slightly. So if you can successfully identify a ranging market versus a trending market, you can apply these strategies very successfully. Okay. I just want to see if this harmonic is still valid, because I've just left it on here hoping that we're going to come and claim that. Yeah, this harmonic is not valid anymore. Anyways. Let's go through some more comments. 100% crypto big brains, you know, the range lows. You know, guys, and this, there are so many strategies, and this is why we are all here in a community together. Because sometimes you forget, let's say I forget about the range high strategy. Okay, and I'm like, I'm harped on a different strategy, and then crypto big brains highlights, hey Dewald, I see a range low, or I see a range high, or I see a D line breaking out, or I see this, or I see, you know, we keep each other honest. And this, you know, this all happens here in the chat section, the alpha that myself and Andy and the coaches provide. So guys, you know, it's so nice to be surrounded by like-minded people, because you learn from each other, and you show each other things that that you, for example, did not see. Like, for example, you know, guys, I can tell you now, I did not see this morning when I had this scenario. Okay, let me go and show you here inside the community. Was this one. This is how I had it drawn out. And for some odd reason, okay, I was like, guys, I don't like this scenario because we did not tap a B flat target. We did not tap the 0.9. So I don't think we're going to fall to the downside. In actual fact, I don't even like the scenario anymore. And then what happened? Okay, there's the same problem with this count. Wave 1 looks more corrective than B. Did not tap the 0.9. Basically exactly what I said here. And then, okay, so sometimes you just have like a blank moment. I don't want to say blonde moment, because there might be blonde people watching this live stream. But then, you know, Andy comes out and he says, hey, Dewald, what about this? I'm like, fuck, why didn't I see that? We're not perfect. I don't know everything. Andy doesn't know everything. But I can tell you guys now, myself and Andy jump into many calls together where we just like, Andy, do you know what's going on here? And he's like, have no idea. Okay, let's brainstorm it together. Or I know exactly where the structure is because it just makes sense to me, and Andy is lost, and we help each other out, and vice versa. We help each other out as a community. The best thing you can do is surround yourself with like-minded people. Okay, link for the community is here down in the description if you guys want to join, because we have some really good traders inside here. Okay, I don't want to show everyone's conversations here on the live stream, but we have some really good traders. Crypto Big Brains, Viking, I think, is one of the people's names. We have some really good traders inside the community. Right, Dewald, please see my previous comments. I am trying to allude to a bigger picture. Ooh, okay, let me see. Alicia, let me see if I can find your other questions. Dewald, let's say it goes to 1.618 or 2 fib time. Then we need a 3, then a 4, then a 5th wave. Huh? What will it mean for 4-year cycle? Oh, basically you want to see what it means. Okay, cool. So let's do this. I know that this is a big question on everyone's mind because I see this question popping up not just here on my stream. I see it popping up on other people's streams as well. Is the 4-year cycle still intact even if we get a deeper correction here to the downside like the ABC that I've just discussed? Okay, so let's go here onto the weekly chart. Make sure that I'm on the log scale. Let's see where we are. Do we still have time for an insane bull market here to the upside? Okay, that's now the question. Okay, so let me go and switch on my things. Okay, right. I'm going to leave that. 4-year cycles, bear and bull boxes. Okay, let's just keep it simple like such at the moment, right? We can also switch on the pi cycle indicator. Okay, so according to technicals and data that we have is we still have time. So, well, and it looks like it's running out because now this is everyone's concern. The bull cycle is supposed to complete over here. Okay, end of October, in a nutshell. The problem is we have not had the pi cycle top indicator flash just as yet. So it would be very strange for the first time in history this indicator will be broken. And it's one of the most accurate indicators so far. Okay, I just have to put the so far in there. So far, it has not failed. Every single time it has not failed. So if we break down now and go into a bear market, it will be a historical moment. So I'm not here to speculate and be a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. So I'm just going to say it's going to stay intact. Based on previous data, we have to assume that this will stay intact. Okay. What I can tell you guys, okay, that I have calculated these two bars. Okay. Oops, let me not shift them around. From the 25th of October to the 27th of October, I have drawn from here to here exactly 4 years. You can see that exactly 4 years. Okay, but when you go and measure out the previous ones, it's not exactly 4 years. Some of them are 3 or 2 months longer. Some of them are 3 or 2 months shorter. Okay, because I don't have historical data to know exactly where the top was and exactly where the bottom was and exactly where the top is, it's now easy for me to put in these lines. Okay, you can see here, it started in December and it ended in October. 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so it was a little bit shorter than 4 years. Sometimes it's a little bit longer than 4 years. So the first point of order that I'm trying to highlight over here is that the bull cycle can still continue a little bit longer. It doesn't have to stop exactly here. It can still be 3 or 4 months longer, but it needs to be in the range. It would be very strange to see that. Very, very strange, because then again, we're going to break the model. From a historical perspective, it's never happened before. Okay, so I've just put it here at the end of October to make it a perfect 4-year cycle. Right, so if price, now let's look at this little structure that's forming over here. Okay, so if price had to now still go and take the high, take the low, and then give us a nice little guard candle here to the upside, I think there's still time. Even with another low, I still think there's time. It doesn't have to just continue over here. Right, because this line can ever so slightly still shift, can still ever so slightly still shift. Also, based on data, the pi cycle top has not flashed. Okay, so it hasn't flashed yet. We haven't had the parabolic move to the upside yet. So if I switch these boxes off, and for those of you that haven't seen me explain this, And for all, especially for those of you that have seen me talk about this, I apologize, but there's a lot of new people here on the stream. Okay, if you go back in history, there has always, since the beginning of Bitcoin, there has always been a moment where price left the moving averages to the upside. You can see how it's trending inside the moving averages. Okay, it's all just, and then it crosses over there. They cross. And price is outside the moving averages. That is the parabolic phase. That is the face melting phase. That is where altcoins go absolutely berserk. That is where everyone believes that Bitcoin will never correct again. Sell your house and buy Bitcoin now. This is where people buy the tops. Okay, is where Bitcoin enters the parabolic phase. We haven't seen a parabolic phase yet. The data shows me. Okay, every single time. I know there's some people that says, Dewald, we've been in the parabolic phase. I'm going to say, well, show me. It hasn't happened. Then during the previous another bull cycle, you can see there's a moment where it breaks out of both trends, and that's your parabolic phase. Again, okay, it breaks above and it goes into a parabolic phase. Okay, again, it breaks out and it goes into a, okay, I'm purposefully repeating myself here. It breaks out and it goes into a parabolic phase where it trades above both moving averages. And it's where those moving averages crosses where it flashes the indicator. That's how it basically works. And now, price has not broken above the green moving average. It's not often you will hear me talk about moving averages, guys, but we have not had a parabolic move. We need Bitcoin to break out of the moving averages, okay, and they need to cross, and the pi cycle indicator needs to flash. Okay, then it's over. We have not had the parabolic move just as yet during this cycle. So there's a chance that the bull market can ever so slightly extend. It doesn't have to end at the end of October. It can go into the end of December. Very, very normal. How do I say it? My thesis or my belief, I don't know, guys. I think, maybe let me position it highway. My way. My personal, this is not technically related, my personal belief, and it's not because I'm biased, my personal belief is I think the bull market is going to extend a little bit longer. I think it's going to extend ever so slightly a little bit longer because of what happened in COVID. Okay. I'm not going to go through all the details now, but because of what happened in COVID and because there was way more money printing that took place than in previous cycles when there was recessions, okay, the money printer went way too aggressive because the world did not know what to expect. They didn't even know how much money was. Let's just print, let's just go bananas because the world is in lockdown, the world is a standstill. We cannot afford the economies to crash. People went into the Fed, the governments, everyone went into a flat spin and they overprinted, way overprinted. So I think it's going to take longer to reverse the damage. But the bull market is, that's my thesis. That's my personal thesis. You guys don't have to believe what I'm telling you over here. My personal thesis is because of what happened in COVID and because there was overstimulation of the economy, it's taking longer to reverse the damage. So my belief is that the bull market is going to extend a little bit longer. I don't know by how much longer, maybe 2 or 3 months, but I think it's going to extend a little bit past October. And that's just my personal opinion. It's not based on technicals. Based on technicals, okay, that's where the bull market is going. Oops, let me just put it back. Let's put it back, right? Based on technicals, based on data, the bull market is supposed to come to an end over here somewhere. based on technicals, we still need this to flash. It hasn't flashed yet, and it will only flash once price breaks the green moving average. Okay, and when it starts trading above the moving average, and then they need to cross, and once they cross, you get the you get the indicator that flashes. And this assumption is made on data. This is not a personal opinion. This is just, yes, the data. If you believe that price is going to do this, well then where's your data to support it? Okay, right. Okay, let's go through some more comments. Satoshi, Dewald, throw away the 4-year cycle. This is a trader's market. Yes, you know, I trade the ranges at the end of the day, guys. I do trade the ranges at the end of the day. I don't care about the cycle at the end of the day. Before I started my YouTube channel, I did not even have prices to the left or to the right. I did not even have dates at the bottom. I disabled it. Because for me, to day trade, I don't need to know the price of Bitcoin. I don't need to know what date we are in. All I need to know is to understand the structure. That's all I need as a day trader. So Satoshi, you are correct. Okay, but I'm just highlighting this and I'm talking about the 4-year cycle because these are questions that are coming up in the market, and I thought I will just give you my opinion. And my opinion is based on data, but the fact that I think we're going to overextend is my personal opinion. Okay, so theoretically the bull market should end by the end of October, according to data. But it can overextend, which still supports my narrative because the 4-year cycles are not perfect. Some 4-year cycles are a little bit longer and some 4-year cycles are a little bit shorter. But they are in the range of 4 years. Okay, we need to look at all scenarios. Nobody truly knows what will happen. Yes, agreed. Agreed. Okay. When I exit from crypto as a buyer, Daddy Legend, when are you going to exit? At the end of October? Is that when you're going to exit? Right. Do you think the volume is extremely low this cycle? Yes, because we haven't had the parabolic move yet. The volume is very, and it's also because we don't have retail, guys. The retail's not here. Okay, it's institutions, it's us, but there's no retail. And remember, guys, me and you watching this stream and me giving you guys the stream and institutions, we need retail. And this sounds very bad. And I know this is just the game of training at the end of the day. We need retail so that we can take profits. We need to take profits into retail. It's very sad to say, guys, but I can tell you now, okay, smart money is not buying the tops. Okay, smart money most probably bought over here. Then they create the hype here to the upside and you get that parabolic move here to the upside. This is where retail comes back. This is where Twitter is absolutely bananas. The banana zone. I think people refer to it as the banana zone. You go into the banana zone and this is where these people take profits. We take profits into retail. Okay, smart money most probably bought over here. They took profits into retail. And then again, smart money started accumulating over here. And I still see smart money buying at the moment, which tells me the high is not in yet. Okay. And also retail is not here. So who are we going to take profits into? Okay, we need retail. Okay, Bitcoin basically needs to create hype. It needs to create hype. This is how I see it, guys. Bitcoin needs to create hype so that people are like, holy shit, $150,000 Bitcoin. We didn't see that coming. We thought we're going to fall here by 120 and we're going to go down. Guys, okay, maybe something's on, and then it just keeps on climbing. It keeps on climbing, and everyone's like, okay, this, guys, this is where retail goes absolutely banana. When you look at the Google statistics, Bitcoin, altcoins, everything just goes skyrocket. My channel over here has 10,000 people watching the live streams. It's that. Okay, we still need banana zone. And this is where I'm going to tell everyone, for those of you that were listening to this stream, okay, during this time, guys, we need to start taking profits. Okay, because these retail wants to buy, we need to start taking profits. Anyways, guys, I'm just having so much fun here on the live stream. Remember to smash up that like button. Right. And maybe this is why the volume is so low. Exactly. Retail is not here. I mean, we can see volume is it's still tapering down here at the moment. Okay. I think only once Bitcoin starts accelerating here to the upside are you going to see volume increasing. Yeah, I mean, volume was even pretty flat. You had more selling pressure here to the upside, but I mean, volume did increase as the momentum rose to the upside. But anyways, guys, we'll see how this plays out. And I do think from a technical perspective, and I do have extreme bullish case scenarios, and I'm not calling for those. I do have bullish case scenarios that takes us to $400,000, $500,000 Bitcoin during this cycle. And then I have some conservative scenarios that takes us to about $180,000, $170,000 Bitcoin. Okay. I personally do not think that we are going to tap out at 130K. I don't think we're going to tap out over there. I think we're going to go higher because we have to go higher to get retail back. And the institutions know that you have to create hype to get retail back, to get them to buy in so that we can say, thank God, now we can take profits. Because who are we going to take profits into if there's no one to take profits into? Okay. One more low, bull market August. Yes, it would be nice to get one more low. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, on the 1 hour time frame, okay, it would be nice to still get that. Whether we go down and up and then down, but it would be nice to take this low just once more. Just once more. It would be really, really nice because I also want to build a swing position over here. Okay. Right. And it's also nice. Most corrective structures have 3 peaks to the downside. Not all of them, but most corrective structures have 3 peaks to the downside. So if we get this, then you'll have your 1, 2, 3 peaks. And then on the higher time frames, there should be bullish divergence between each peak. Let's just go and see for interest sake here on the 12 hour or 8 hour if we can spot bullish divergence building at the moment. Where's my RSI? No, we don't. Man, I was hoping that we are going to see some bullish divergence. No, we don't. Okay. Anyways, legends, remember to smash up the like, the links for the exchanges with the biggest bonuses and lowest trading fees. If you want to be a VIP 1 on weeks, this is the link where you do it. You get 20% extra to trade with, 25% discount on your trading fees. Bluffin has got that competition running at the moment. If you want to join our team, the second link over here. Okay, Femix, they've got that amazing special, also 20% cash back. You also get a Solana depending on how much volume you trade. So the best deals for the exchanges is always down in the description. It costs you nothing extra. Legends, thank you so much for joining this live stream. I have said what I wanted to say, and I will see you all in the next one. Trade safe. Protect your positions, take profits. You know the deal, right? Learn to trade the range. Until the next one, cheers for now.